Hi guys, I want to talk to you today about selecting exercises for muscle building. Um, it's really important that you select the best exercises for you to achieve your goals and to help you pack on some size. So just want to go over some key fundamental principles to look at when selecting exercises, and a little bit more detail on some stuff that people often forget about. So first of all, when you're selecting exercises, there's a few important criteria that exercise has to meet to make it a good choice for you. So number one is that you can actually feel the target muscle. Um, if you're training your chest and you're benching, but you can't feel it in your chest, you only feel it in your shoulders and triceps, it's not a great chest builder for you. Um, the next thing is that you can do it without pain, like joint pain during or after the training session, and it doesn't beat you up, and you're not achy in the joints after doing a certain exercise. Second is that you can use a good amount of weight, a lot of load. Exercises that allow you to create the most mechanical tension, put the most load on, are generally going to be the best mass builders. And finally, they should be exercises you can progressively add weight to. So sure, a lateral raise is a good exercise and will help target the lateral delts, but it's not one that you're going to be able to add a load of weight to week on week. You can't add 2.5 kilos to that every week. Because as you're starting with just such a light load, it's not possible. So it might be in your program, but it's not going to be the cornerstone of your program. Instead, if you're trying to target your shoulders, things like overhead pressing and upright rows are going to be better options that allow you to continually add weight to the bar and overload your body to get results. So that's kind of like the first port of call. Is tick off those 4 things, and then you're in a good place to build the foundation of your training program. And then it's important to look at the details a little more, and that's where your positions of flexion is a great concept. It's actually originated by Steve Holman, wrote about it, and the basic premises of this is you should work muscle for its full range of motion to target full fibre recruitment. Now that's pretty obvious, we want to go through a full range, but this takes things a little bit further than just doing a lift through a full range, like squatting through the full range, doing full range of reps on chin-ups and pull-ups or bench press, something like that. What we're actually looking at here is the range a muscle has. It has what's known as the mid-range, a stretch position, and a contracted, shortened, or peak contraction position. So if you think about the biceps is a good example, doing a bicep curl with a barbell in front of your body or whatever works the mid-range. So you're focusing on like the belly of the fibre of the muscle gets targeted, gets worked quite hard. Now, if you go to an incline dumbbell curl and you have your hand behind your body as you're on an incline bench, it immediately places a stretch on it, stretches the muscle fibre into a lengthened position and allows you to work in the stretch position and places a big overload there. Conversely, keeping with the biceps, something where the arms in front of the body, like a preacher curl, where the arms up, the shoulders elevated a little bit, and you're here, and you get into that fully shortened position, really allows you to get a peak contraction and work in that shortened range. Now, the fibres in the mid-range, they sort of actin and myosin, the contractile elements sit, like this, and then in the stretch position, they're stretched out, and in the peak, they're like this, a little bit closer. As a real crude analogy, but working them in all those different positions means you can completely max out the fibre recruitment of a muscle. So just to give you some examples, in general, to work the mid-range, big compound lifts work best. So squats for quads, a 45-degree back extension is a great option for the hamstrings, pull-ups for things like lats, for your mid-back, maybe a behind the neck pull-down can work if you have the flexibility of your shoulder. For shoulders, an overhead press is a good example, and for biceps and triceps, a barbell curl for biceps and a close grip bench for triceps, for example. If you move into a stretch position, you've got to think about exercises where you place the muscle under a big stretch in the start position, they get that stretch through the range. So, for example, hamstrings and a Romanian deadlift really gets that stretch. For quads, Doing like a sissy squat, or having your feet really placed forward on a hack squat or a Smith machine would achieve that. For calves, a donkey calf raise where you're bent forward at the hips will increase the stretch. For lats, like a dumbbell pullover works very well. For your mid-back, a close grip row where you really get a big stretch forward and then row back. For your shoulders or lateral delts, a lean away lateral raise where you lean, holding on to something at an angle will increase the stretch on it and work you into that stretch position. For dumbbells, for chest, dumbbell flies work great as you lengthen the arm out to the side. The weight's really overloading you in the stretch position now as you lift up, and gravity's acting straight down through your arm. There's less and less tension. So for a stretch position, a dumbbell fly works great. And for biceps, as I already mentioned, an incline curl, and triceps, anything with the arms over your head, like a French press or an overhead extension, will work that length and range. Now, moving into contracted positions, things like leg extensions are excellent for the quads. They get you really fully shortened, and leg curls, where you really focus on getting to that top position, like a lying leg curl, would allow you to do that. Standing calf raises for calves, straight arm pull downs for lats really get you into a shortened position. And a dumbbell lateral raise here works because, again, a bit like a dumbbell fly, when you're in that lengthened position and at the top of the lift, here when the arm's out by the side, that's when the muscle's fully shortened and most of the tension is on. And as the arm comes down and the lever arm moves into your side, there's less and less tension going through the muscle. For a fully contracted chest exercise, like a cable fly or a pec deck works, and then biceps, concentration curls or preacher curls would be excellent options. And for triceps, a push down variation. So first of all, you build the exercises on those four principles I gave you at the start. They're the cornerstone, and then you to fully maximise the hypertrophy of the muscles, you should think about working them in all their ranges, so mid-range, stretched and peak ranges, or contracted positions, sorry. Now, you don't have to do that all in one session, so it's not like you have to do quads, mid-range, stretched and shortened in one session. If you're training multiple times a week, you might hit the mid-range twice and then have a second exercise on the first day that hits the stretched, and the second exercise on the second session that hits the shortened position, for example. And you can manipulate things through the week like that. But across the course of your training, you want to hit each position to maximise your fibre recruitment and the potential for growth. Now, another consideration is the function of the muscle. So, some muscles do more than one thing. For example, the hamstrings extend the hip and they flex the knee. So like leg curls are flexing the knee, and hamstring exercises in hip extension are things like Romanian deadlifts and good mornings and back extensions. So what you might look at there is that you do a 45-degree back extension, which works your hamstrings and hip extension through the middle of the range, but an RDL will work it more into a stretch position. So that means you then have leg curls. You could do a lying leg curl, which works it more into the shortened position, and a seated leg curl actually works it in a stretch because of the position of your body relative to your thighs. Means it's in a stretch position. So then you can add an extra layer. You can be working them in both functions and at the ranges of their contraction. For example, another one is chest. It works for you to press and flex the arm, but also you have the fly motion. So you could be doing flies in a stretch position with dumbbells and a shortened position with like a pec deck or a cable fly. And then you could be hitting it with paused bench presses to really get a stretch, and then against accommodating resistance like bands will slightly overload that contracted position at the top. Or if you're using dumbbells where you bring your hands across the body, that will focus on that shortened position. And of course, with the chest, you've got another thing to consider is it's made up of the clavicular, which is the upper chest, and the sterner portion, which is the lower chest. So work on an incline will target that upper area, and flat or decline exercises tend to focus more on the lower portion of the chest. So you can see it all starts layering in and getting more complicated. But if you have an idea of what makes a good exercise, first of all, the mid-range, stretched and shortened positions you want to work muscles in, and they're different functions, then you can make sure that across the phase of training you're hitting everything at one point, to make sure that you're fully recruiting the fibers and allowing them to maximize their growth. Okay guys, so I hope that gives you a little insight into how you might select exercises and put them into your program. I'll do another video with specific recommendations in terms of rep ranges for certain exercises and types of exercise coming up, so keep your eyes peeled for that. If you've got any questions about this, then let me know and I'll be happy to get back to you and try and help out and optimize your training.